Welcome to Sincerely Bhakti. My name is Bhakti Lata, and today we are exploring how there are only two ways with which we can live our lives. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, commentary by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, reading chapter 7, verse 9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. So Krishna is speaking to his friend Arjuna in this section of the Gita, and he's explaining to his friend how he can see God everywhere within the material universe. And so Krishna begins this section by saying, everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So you don't see the thread, but the thread is what holds everything together. What we see is the beauty of the pearl, but it wouldn't have so much value if it was just laying in the bottom of the ocean. So by being gathered together and by being held together by this thread, we can experience the beauty of the pearl. So this particular verse has 4 different pearls. We're going to explore them today. And the first pearl is this original fragrance of the earth. So Prabhupada explains here in the purport that punya means that which is not decomposed. So it is the original. There's no way you can break it down further. So it doesn't just mean the fragrance of the earth that you scoop up some soil from your driveway and you smell that. Yes, sure, that is God. But it also means the fragrance that of anything that emanates from the earth. And usually it is very pleasing. And we can take flowers or the flavor of vegetables or fruit. And that is God himself. If we and Prabhupada even says here the flavor of water, air. If we were to go to the ocean and smell that ocean air, how do you describe ocean air or fresh mountain air? They're distinct, right? They're distinct. If you were to go into the mountains for a healing journey, it would be distinct from the taste or the flavor, the fragrance of ocean air if you were to go to the ocean for a healing journey. So they're distinct and they're so subtle that anyone in the world, if they were to smell a rose, they would know, oh, that is a rose. And that original fragrance is God himself. So we can start to identify God just by how he smells, and it's so subtle and so beautiful. The second pearl here is that Krishna is saying, I'm the heat in fire. So he's saying here, Tejas Chasmi Vibhavas. So Tejas is translated here as heat, but in the next verse, Teja is also translated as prowess. And in that context, prowess of powerful men. So it's that power that is generated when men are powerful and how much they can accomplish and their charisma and their attractive qualities. That is also translated as prowess or teja. So here, teja is chasmi vibhava. So teja also means power. And Prabhupada writes here that it's not just, say, like a campfire and there's heat that's emanating from that fire, or say a forest fire. It means that power that, and maybe it's even generated from electricity, or say a gasoline powered vehicle. That fire that is powering the vehicle, fire is powering the factories, the electricity. Anything that is power is generating so much productivity or decomposition, such as in a forest fire. But that power is Krishna. And it's even explained here that the fire of digestion is what digests all of our food. That fire is God himself. So he's everywhere. He's outside of us and he's within us. And we can start to identify that pearl, that God is everywhere within the power of anything. And then Krishna says, I am the life of all that lives. Now, trying to wrap our mind around God, it's almost impossible. This achintya, it's like inconceivable. But even this is getting a little bit closer. Like, how do I conceive of the life of all that lives? And we can just start by saying, looking outside of our window. And if I look outside my window, I see a large lawn of just billions of blades of grass. all of those blades of grass have a soul, and all the trees, all the insects, all have souls. And I'm just one tiny soul and one tiny part of the earth. And I'm surrounded by billions of living entities. I was getting into my car the other day and I saw a cloud of insects above my car door. And I was thinking every single one of those insects has a soul. That is God. He is giving life and energy to these insects. And I was taking a walk the other day with my son, and we just saw this tiny little grasshopper hopping along the ground. My son was immediately fascinated by it. He just started laughing and he wanted to get closer. He was attracted by this tiny little insect that was skittering across the ground. And it was just an insect. It was just moving, but he knew that there was something special about this piece of matter that was moving on its own accord. That is God Himself just moving that insect. He is the life of all that lives. Even a baby can identify that and see it and experience the wonder and joy that comes with seeing God's energy. And then our fourth pearl is tapas chasmi tapasvi, which is I am the penances of all ascetics. Now, there is a lot of beautiful play on words here in this section because tapas is translated as penance. So it also means austerity. When you perform austerity, you are trying to achieve some goal. So you could perform material austerity to achieve a material goal, or you could perform spiritual austerity to reach some spiritual goal. And any spiritual goal always comes back to love. And it's always about selflessness and loving God. And so what's interesting, though, is that tapas has its root in the Sanskrit term of heat, that when you perform austerity, you're generating heat, tapasya. And earlier in this verse, there's this description that Krishna is the heat in fire. So there's also the heat in the ascetics. Those who are performing austerity, Krishna is also that power that is generated from performing austerity. And to achieve some higher goal, you're willing to sacrifice to reach that goal. So you could be doing austerity to reach the goal of a university degree, or you could be performing austerity to sacrifice in order to please your loved one and especially to please God. So Krishna is saying, I am that willingness to sacrifice for some higher goal. I am the heat in that process, that willingness to grow, to expand, to move outward, the power that is generated from performing austerity. So these are just 4 different pearls that are explored in this verse. But we can see that God is present everywhere. And there is a beautiful quote by Albert Einstein where he says, there are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. And that's what these verses are about. They are all about generating that sense of wonder that everything around us is a miracle, and that miracle is God. That is what is ultimately being expressed here by Albert Einstein, whether he knows it or not. When we really look at the world through the eyes of wonder, that everything is a miracle, we realize how small we are, that we have no power to really create anything. If we have any power, it comes from God. And seeing that everything is a miracle gives us such a beauty and a sense of expansion, that God is present everywhere. And that gives us such purpose and meaning that I'm so small, but there is someone holding it all together, like the thread holding all the pearls together. And there are so many more pearls described in this section, described in the Gita. Krishna is those pearls strung on him, on this thread. The pearls are what we can see, but he is behind everything, supporting everything. He is the one who has created everything. So if we can see the world through the eyes of wonder, that everything is a miracle, how much we are uplifted and experience that sense of joy and meaning in our lives. So those are my reflections upon this verse, the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 9. I'm grateful that you joined me today. Hare Krishna.